a little bit with a small introduction of what SheTrades Invest is. SheTrades Invest is fully committed to supporting a fruitful relation between capital providers and women entrepreneurs in developing market. And the whole idea of this e-coffee session with financial institutions are intended to create a space where actually all partners like Heva Fund can share available financial products and services with our members, and as well so all the women entrepreneurs can get informed about what are the lending investment criteria and how can you unlock finances for your business. Let me as well introduce super quick the team. We have Anna Marie, head of partnerships that I just saw in the chat, that is joining us directly from Brazil. Hi, Anna. We also have myself as SheTrades Invest coordinator, and we have Laura as well that is providing SheTrades Invest support, joining us as well all the way from Mexico today, a very international team. And very important today, we have our very dear guest, Heva Fund. Heva is Africa's first dedicated finance, business support, and knowledge facility for creative industries. Since 2013, Heva has generated insights, rolled out investment, and innovated financial models specifically for the growth of creative economy in East Africa. And today we are extremely honored and super grateful to Kendi, that is the support and compliance manager at Heva Fund. She has over 5 years of experience in financial management and has been responsible for managing Heva's business investment portfolio to ensure recovery of disbursed funds to recapitalization in subsequent investment cycle. She also identifies investees' capacity building needs and assists in the sourcing of consultants to address this gap. Kendi is an ACCA affiliate and has a bachelor's degree in finance and accounting from Strathmore University, and it's currently pursuing a master in monitoring and evaluation. So Kendi, without no further ado, I pass it over to you. I have my coffee ready, so hope you all have your coffee ready as well. And let's kick off. Over to you, Kendi.
Thank you so much, Lisbeth. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning. If it's morning where you're joining us from, I'm really excited to have all of you join us today. And we are looking forward to a good session where we'll get to understand what Heva does and how yourself or your business can benefit through what Heva Fund offers. So as Lisbeth said, Heva Fund is Africa's first dedicated financial supporter and skills and capacity building facility for creative businesses across Eastern Africa. And so if I could give you an inception story of how Heva Fund started, Heva Fund was started by artists, an artist collective that was looking to explore what artistic livelihoods would look like, how people would be able to earn from their craft and not perform, or rather carry out their creative activities as side hustles or as a part-time job. And so they were exploring how artistic livelihoods could be secured through the creative industry. And so what they did is that they commissioned a study where they sought to find out what were the most urgent needs for the creative sector. And what they found out was that finance was a big gap. The other thing was skills and capacity. And then the third thing was government policies that were not supportive of the creative industry. So what they did in response to these problems is that they created 3 arms within Heva. So we have the Heva Capital, we have Heva Forum, and then we have Heva Insights. And so Heva Capital aims to provide finance to the creative industries, to the creative practitioners within the creative industry. Heva Forum aims to do capacity building, trainings, as well as market access for the creative industries, for practitioners within the creative industries. And then we have Heva Insights, whose mandate is to carry out studies, carry out research, and find substantive evidence that then we can use to lobby the government in Kenya to sort of align or promote the creative industries in Kenya. So far, Heva has directly invested in over 50 businesses through financial support. And these businesses range from countries within Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda. We're also looking to invest in Ethiopia, as well as Tanzania. And did I mention Uganda? So within the Eastern African region, we've been able to pump out, or rather give direct financial assistance. And then when it comes to skills building and capacity building, Heva has been able to reach over 8,000 creative practitioners within the African region. I think we can go to the presentation now. So since 2020, once the COVID-19 pandemic started, Heva had to realign its strategy. And the strategy that we are working on right now is to ensure that these creative businesses retain as much capital within their businesses as possible. So what we did is that anyone who had a facility prior to 2020 received a 1-year moratorium period, so that then they wouldn't incur repayment expenses and interest repayments. And so they'd be able to have more working capital within them to sort of have a runway and wait out the COVID-19 impact. Although we thought by now maybe things would have been turning for the better, but we're still within the same pandemic. And so a lot of our strategy is still around retaining capital and giving out more capital to these businesses to ensure resilience. The other strategy is that we are giving out more patient capital. So more of our beneficiaries are now being able to access convertible debts that have like a 2-year moratorium period before it's time to have the conversation about converting the debt either into equity or whether we'll have the business repay. We are also mixing our financing in a way that there's grant financing mixed up with debt financing, so that at least there's some patient capital within the funding, within each funding that we offer. And then the third strategy is just to invest in more research and insights to figure out what the impact of COVID has been across the region, especially on the creative industries, and then come up with evidence-based strategies on how to assist, or rather how to ensure that the creative industry is resilient and can survive the shocks of the pandemic. Elizabeth, you can go to the next slide. So far we have three financial instruments that we, or rather not instruments, but 3 funds that we invest through. We have a seed grant, and this grant allows for businesses to draw down up to a maximum of 10,000 USD. And this is for really early stage businesses that are like 6 months post inception. And basically there's a lot of more hand holding around the seed grant. So the capacity building that comes with the financing is quite intensive, where we have a deep dive into your operations. You get to see what are your business operations like, what are your financial bookkeeping practices, what are your legal practices and HR practices, and then recommend more formalization or more better practices for your business, for your early stage business. And with that, you're also able to get 10,000 USD as a fund into your business. And then the next level of funding is the medium enterprise funding, where businesses are able to access up to 20,000 USD. And this we call was mostly catered to young women. And so we call it the Young Women's Fund. And this fund looks to invest in women-led businesses. where they're able to access up to 20,000 USD and a lot of capacity building as well as market access assistance. The third fund is, we call it the growth fund, and there are two types of growth fund. We have we call it the AFD growth fund, which is a Kenyan facility, and then we have the East African growth fund, which is a facility that caters to Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. And so here businesses are able to access between 20,000 USD and 50,000 USD in debt. Also the moratorium period, they have a moratorium period that accompanies the debt. For the Kenyan Growth Fund facility, the moratorium period is 6 months. And for the East African Growth Fund facility, the moratorium is 3 months. And so how we roll out the funds is broken down into further instruments. We have term loans, normal term loans, where a business would, let's say, take 20,000 USD, have a repayment period of 48 months, and then just service the loan as a normal loan, where they are paying principal and interest on it for the loan period. And then we have a revenue share model, and the revenue share model allows businesses to be cushioned against any change in earnings, or if their business is very cyclical and seasonal, for the months that they are not able to earn revenue, then there's no repayment that's expected from them. So how revenue share works is that the days, or rather the months that you earn revenue, you'll either pay a percentage, either 2% to 6% of your revenues back to Heva as repayment for your loan. And for the months that you have no revenue, or your revenue is really limited, then you'll just pay a small amount commensurate to the revenue that you've earned during that period. And so you'll notice that most of our financial instruments are very catered to what business, what the business needs are. And so for cyclical businesses or seasonal businesses like those in bridal, we find that revenue share is a better model of financing for them. And then we have the convertible loan. This is a loan that allows you, let's say, a period of 2 years before we can start now discussing either whether it's a repayment, whether we're going the repayment route, or whether we are going the converting into equity route. And so this is a patient mode of capital that allows a business to take in the funds, absorb them, turn the funds around, turn the loan around into turnover and revenue, and then at least for 2 years, and then now we can have the conversations about repayment. The next instrument that we use to finance the creative businesses is the lease to own. Here, this instrument works for companies or other businesses that are looking to invest heavily in equipment. And so what we do is that we buy the equipment in our name and allow the business to repay in installments until the point where they've finished paying the principal and the interest. And then at that point, we are able to transfer the equipment or the assets back to the business. And so as you'll notice that all our instruments are very tailor-made to a specific type of business, to the specificities that come with different types of business. And so it's not a one-size-fits-all that we prescribe to the creative industry. You'll also note that our loans are not collateralized, so we don't take any collateral. And so it's the aesthetics, it's the product that we bank on when we're investing. Elizabeth, we can move on to the next. Yeah. So for the growth fund, which is the current funds that are live, the seed grant and the young women's fund are not live for now. We did the first rollout, and so we have those businesses in the portfolio, and we are looking to roll out a subsequent call, but they are not currently live. So the only two funds that are live are the growth funds, the AFD growth fund, that's for Kenyan businesses only, and the East African Growth Fund that applies to 5 countries: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. And so for the growth funds, this is the focus, or rather the businesses that we are looking to invest in should ideally be looking to expand their production capacity, enter new markets, offer new products within the market, either purchase equipment or software for more efficiency in their production, or or they require more working capital. And so businesses that are looking for these 5, are they 5? These 6 avenues of expansions are the businesses that we are looking to invest in. Next slide. And so for the eligibility requirements, so for the Kenyan Growth Fund, which we call the AFD Growth Fund, for you to be eligible, 51% of your shareholders must be Kenyan citizens. But for the East African Growth Fund, then 51% or majority of your shareholding should be a citizen of the five Eastern African countries that I mentioned. Your business must be in existence for at least 5 years. And then these are the value chains that you must belong to. So either your business is in design and home furnishings, it's in education application, it's in cultural tourism, it's in craft, food and cuisine, it's either in cultural infrastructure, fashion, apparel and accessories, film, photography, digital creation, gaming, live music, and cultural festivals. Your business must as well have 3 permanent employees. You must have valid financial statements for at least 4 out of the 5 years of operations. And then you must have annual revenues of at least 100,000 USD and above. So then I had mentioned that we are looking, or rather one of the strategies is to invest in more patient capital. And one of the avenues, or rather one of the most patient forms of capital, is grants. And so recently, actually, I think a week ago, we launched the ACP Ignite Culture Grant Facility. This facility is in partnership with the European Union, the British Council, Heva Fund, as well as ACP, the African, Caribbean, and Pacific group of states. And this facility is looking to invest up to 180,000 euros in 14 Eastern African region countries. And these countries are Burundi, Comoros, Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Madagascar, Mauritius, Rwanda, Seychelles, Somalia, Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. And this grant will enable organizations to successfully develop new ventures, programs, projects for their target communities, and will go a long way to make the work of the target communities sustainable. We can go to the next slide. And so this grant will be rolled out in 3 different tiers. We have the 30,000 euro tier, which is the lowest tier. We have the 90,000 euro tier, which is the middle tier, and then the maximum amount that can be drawn down by any organization that's seeking to benefit from this grant is a maximum of 180,000 euros. So the targeted group is creative and cultural organizations which produce creative and culture goods and services, and or develop programmatic interventions for the sector, such as creative and cultural business organizations, education and training institutions with an existing planned focus on creative and cultural industry curriculum, whether that's in development or research, creative and cultural associations and industry bodies, digital hubs and incubators with existing or planned focus on creative and cultural industries, digital content and platform developers with either an existing or planned focus on the CCI, CCI stands for Creative Cultural Industries. Civil society and advocacy groups, if they have any focus on CCIs, think tanks, public or government institutions, cultural institutes, museums, art centers, collective consortia, etc. So the eligibility criteria is that at least the applicant organization must be registered or domiciled in at least one of the 14 countries with the directors being resident of that country. The application must demonstrate at least 51% of the ownership is held by one of the citizens belonging to those 14 countries of focus. The organization must have been in operation for at least 1 year. They have to give valid financial statements that are audited for a period of at least 1 year after January 2018. Have directly implemented at least one project in the CCI, the cultural creative industries, for at least 50% of the grant that they're requesting. So if you're requesting the 30,000 grant, sorry, it's telling me that my internet is unstable. Can you guys hear me? Elizabeth, am I still?
Yes, I can hear you. It wasn't stable for a little bit, but now you're in.
Okay. So if you're looking to benefit from the 30,000 tier, 30,000 euro tier, you must have at least have ran a project within the CCI that amounted to 15,000 euros. So you must demonstrate at least that you've invested, or rather you've handled a project previously that benefits the CCI sector for at least 50% of the amount that you're requesting for. And then the value chains that we're focusing on are cultural and natural heritage. So people that, or other organizations that would fall under this are museums, archaeological and historical places, cultural landscapes, natural heritage, archives, cultural preservation work, cultural food and cuisine, hair, beauty, and cosmetic products, performance and celebration. So people in the performing arts, anyone who's recording music, any festivals, theater, plays, etc. Cultural infrastructure. So anyone who's looking to put in physical infrastructure or digital infrastructure that can advance the visibility or the production of cultural and creative work. Visual arts and crafts. So these are people like in fine arts, in photography, in crafts, books and press. So people in newspapers, in magazines, or any other printed matter, or virtual libraries or physical libraries as well. And then we have audiovisual and interactive media. So people in film, TV, radio, podcasts, vlogs, VR, augmented reality, and new media. Anyone in design and creative services, so fashion and apparel, accessories, interior design, decorative, home and architecture. Anyone within the creative and cultural education, so training spaces, anyone who's offering workshops within the CCI, anyone who's developing curriculums within the CCI sector as well, and any intangible cultural heritage. So social practices, food and cuisine practices, hair, beauty, cosmetic, oral traditions, rituals, etc. Next slide. And so you're probably wondering what we would be looking at for you to, or rather, what will require from you for you to access this funding. What we want to know is who we are dealing with, so ownership structure. We want to know who our client is, also known as KYC, know who your customer is. So we'll need to know your status of the business registration. Are you a limited liability partnership? Are you a corporate, a limited liability company? Are you a sole proprietor or an NGO or a CBO? This is one of the key things that we'll ask from you. We want to know when you were incorporated. We want to know who owns the business, so the shareholders, their IDs, their names. We also want to know the nationality, because like I mentioned, at least 51% of the ownership of the organization should be resident within the 14 countries of focus, as well as physical location, tax and registration compliance. And pitfalls here for you that could delay your process is if you had a partner exit and it was a bit unofficial, like the documents don't show that there was an exit of a partner. So someone who is not within the organization is still appearing on the government records as being part of your organization. We will delay you because we'll need you to go and correct that with the government office. If there were changes that were never registered, probably you moved your location and maybe your tax and compliance certificate says that you're registered in one state, yet you're currently operating from a different state. That those are things that could delay you. So make sure that your structure, or rather all your official documents, are up to date and reflect the true status of your business structure and ownership. And so for the investment process, we do a due diligence process. And for the debt financing, especially, the things that we focus on are your profitability margins. We want to know what your annual profits were. We want to see whether the audited financial statements are in order. We want to see the latest management reports. We want to see your financial projections, any invoices that are contributing to the revenue, any key invoices that are contributing to the expense. So if there's a customer who's maybe your main client, and probably they were responsible for 50% of your revenue, these are invoices that will be really keen on seeing and understanding the contracts behind them. We also want to know how leveraged you are. Do you have any existing debt? Are there any preferential debt agreements that you have? We also want to know what your accounts receivables and account payables look like. So who do you owe? How much do you owe them? How long have you owed them for? Who owes you? How much do they owe you? And how many days have they owed you the amount for? All these are vital in determining your working capital. Also, we want to see contracts with your key suppliers, your key customers, letters of recommendation from key suppliers and key customers as well. We want to see your business premise list. How long have you been operating from that location, and how long do you have to go, or rather how long is your lease for that particular location? Like how long is it going to be in the future? We also want to see your bank statements. We can scroll down, Lisbeth. We also want to see the sustainability of the business. Are you asking for the funds to go into a new venture, to go into a new project? How are you going to ensure that your business is sustainable in the coming future? How does your 5-year plan look like for your 5-year sustainability plan? How does it look like? How does your 10-year sustainability plan look like? Also, we want to know how much of the investment, how much are you seeking for the investment? What's the proposed use? Is it will much of it go into capital investment? Will much of it go into working capital? These are things that we need to know. We'll also need to know how you plan the repayment. So if you're asking for 50,000 USD, how do you see your business repaying this this amount in let's say 48 months, if you're given a 48-month repayment period? We also want to know your growth trajectory. So once you have the funds, what's the plan? Are you going to open a new production facility? Are you moving into a new market? And what's the implication of that on your revenues? So you need to be clear on what the growth trajectory looks like once you have the funds. That's also similar to the next point, which is financial projection after the funds have been injected into your company. So what does the model say? What does the model say about your profitability, about your revenues once there's a capital injection in your business? And then if it's a grant, if it's the grant process, we want to know what the project budget looks like, how much of it is programmatic, how much of it is administration. All this is a breakdown that we will require from you. So just to give you a heads up of what information you should try putting in place and what you can start consolidating or at least aligning. So then once you're ready to seek this financing, at least you have all the requirements that are required from Heva's side. Yeah. So this is a list of the documents that that speak to the requirements that we have in the previous slides. So for your registration, you'll need to give us your business registration certificate. You'll need your tax certificate, your tax compliance certificate, any business ownership certificates, licenses for operations, insurance policies, sector licenses if you're required to have some, like those in the music industry. This is a requirement as well. Regulatory board licenses, say if you're working within the food industry or like in pharmaceuticals, you need to be licensed by the board. We need the proprietors or the owners' identification documents and tax compliance certificates. We'll check, if you're within Kenya, we'll check you against the credit reference bureaus. We'll also check, even if you're within Eastern Africa, we will check with the credit reference bureaus within your country. And then we'll need a letter confirming your bank details. We'll also check your identification against any international due diligence platforms, just to know, is this person wanted internationally, or who are we actually dealing with? So this is part of the information that will be required of you. Okay, I guess we are done. Lisbeth, you're on mute.
Thank you very much for this presentation. I've been compiling some questions as well, and I will open as well the floor for anyone who would like to unmute themselves and ask the question directly. I think one of the main questions we've been receiving is if you can kindly repeat the countries where these funds are available. Some are asking if you have similar opportunity in Nigeria or Zambia. If you could kindly clarify the countries, please.
Okay, so currently the funds that are live are the 2 growth funds in a grant facility. So the 2 growth funds, one of the growth funds is primarily sorry, just a minute. One of the growth funds is purely for Kenya. We call it the AFD Growth Fund, and then the second growth fund can be accessed by people from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Rwanda. Those 5 Eastern African countries. And then for the grant funds that we just rolled out, there are 14 countries. Let me just read them quickly for you. Yeah, the 14 countries are Burundi, Comoros, Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Madagascar, Mauritius, Rwanda, Seychelles, Somalia, Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. So the ACP has blocks, or rather there are blocks. There's an Eastern African block, there's a West African block, there's a South African block. And so for us, we are partnering with ACP, the British Council, and EU to focus on the Eastern African bloc. So for those in the West African bloc, I'm sure there's an ACP, I'm 100% sure there's an ACP Western African bloc. I just don't know who is running it. But if you go to ACP's website, you should be able to see who are the partners within the Western African region and within the Southern African region. For us, we are focusing on the Eastern African region.
Thank you very much, Kendi. We have Patricia raising her hand. Yes, please, Patricia, please unmute yourself. I think I cannot hear you, Patricia. If it's not working, maybe you can type your question in the chat box. We have a question from Grace. Grace is asking, the startup quality?
I think she means qualify.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so for the seed fund, a startup would qualify, or like a pre-startup, one that's already just registered, would qualify, provided they've been in operation for 6 months. But at the moment, we are looking to rerun the seed fund, but it's not yet live at the moment. We just graduated the first cohort, and so we are looking to go again into a second round of calling for applications, but it's not yet live. However, the seed fund only caters to Kenyan businesses as well. We are looking to take Heva at least continent-wide, but at the moment, we're just, because we're still gathering lessons, we're still figuring out what the requirements in these other different jurisdictions are, what the government regulations are. And so once we figure that out, and we feel confident enough to roll out in other countries, then we'll be able to roll out the debt facilities in these other countries. But we, at the moment, at least for the grant facility, we are confident enough rolling out in these other 14 Eastern African countries, because then grant doesn't have a lot of government regulations around it when you compare it to debt.
Thank you, Kendi. We also have Majeda Saleh raising her hand. Please feel free to unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, we can hear you.
I am Majida Saleh from Lebanon. We are not from Africa, but I have this email to share with you. I have a co-op, it's called Wadi Anja, registered in Lebanon, which planted land. We plant tomato, cucumber, all kinds of food, vegetables and fruit, and then we manufacture it by traditional ways. And we have also a school, it's registered in Lebanon. It's formal, but we are facing so crisis to continue in these two businesses. I'm asking if some company can adopt us and can take the revenue and its conditions to continue to learn the students and to feed people. Thank you.
Dear Majida, yes, you can please write me an email. I'll share at the end as well. I will post it down so you can share this with me. Heva Fund is targeting the creative sector, which is not directly this sector, but please send me an email. I'll post the email in the chat box. Thank you. We have Mercy raising her hand. Please, Mercy, unmute yourself.
Thank you, Lisbeth, and thank you, Kendi. My question is based on the grant, on the seed grant that Heva offers, and what I wanted to know is, can a business that is 1 year old apply for the seed grant, and what are the conditions? Really, of course, she did mention, but what are the conditions for this? Because when it comes to the other thing that she was talking about, there's the 30,000 euro fund and all that. But now I'm just looking at the seed grant that the 10,000 USD seed grant that Kendi had mentioned. And what can someone do to qualify? Is it open? Is it an all year round thing that is open? Or is it a one-off thing that you apply for once a year or something like that? Thank you.
Okay. So the seed fund, yes, the eligibility criteria is at least you must have gone to market, or at least been in the market for at least a period of 6 months. But it's not open currently. I had mentioned that we graduated the first cohort and are looking to do a second call for applications for cohort 2. It's not an all green evergreen fund. We do calls for proposals once a year, but at the moment we've been facing some challenges, so we haven't gone live with it, but we are looking to do the same, to go live with it. It's currently only offered within Kenya. And the only requirement is that you must have at least been in operation for 6 months, gone to market and proved that there's some revenue that you've earned, there's a market space for you, you've sold something. So there's demand for your product. Those are the only requirements, and that you must have at least one more other permanent employee within your organization. And of course, that you must belong to the CCI sector, the creative and cultural industry sector.
Thank you, Kendi. There's a question I see right here. Are there similar opportunities, do you know, for Zambian businesses?
For Zambian businesses?
Yes.
Yes, there's the South African ACP culture facility as well, the CCI facility as well. It's been run, I think, I'm not very sure about the organizations that are running it, but if you go to the ACP EU, and maybe I can, actually I'm looking for the link to just share it with you. The ACP link, it will be able to direct you to the regional partners who are deploying the same facility in these other regions. So just allow me to look for it, and then I'll share it on the chat. But yes, the grants facility, the one that has 30,000 euros to 180,000 euro tier, is available for the Southern African bloc as well.
Thank you very much, Kendi. So she'll be sharing this link. So all of you who are asking for West Africa as well, or Zambia and other countries, you can have a look at this link. Thank you. Lisa Musungu, please, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify, because you said to apply for the grant, you must have been in business for 1 year. Is that like 1 year from the registration, or 1 year from like when you open it to the public?
So to apply for the grant, the 30,000 grant facility, you must demonstrate that for a year you have run a project that's within the CCI sector. So yes, you might have been in operation for over 10 years, but probably you've never really focused on the CCI industries, anything cultural. But probably in the last year or so, you've been able to launch or rather carry out a project within the CCI, or have had some particular focus on the CCI. So it's just at least for a year, for 1 year period, you've done something that's given you experience within the CCI sector.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kendi. Do you have any age limit to access these offerings, Kendi?
No, there's no age limit. For the directors, or for the
Patricia, okay, you asked this question. Let us know if there's a specific one. I just got the question if there was an age limit.
No, there's no age limit. So long as you meet the criteria, it doesn't matter how old you are, or you must be an adult, of course.
Thank you, Kendi. Can women groups apply?
Yes, we actually encouraging applications from women groups. If you're not able as a person or as a business to meet all the criteria that's been laid down, and you know that if you go into a partnership with either another business, or if you're going to a partnership with another cooperative, you'll be able to meet the criteria, then you can come together and apply as one, and then have the more mature business, or the more the more mature organization that's meeting all the criteria be the lead applicant, and then you can execute the project together. So yes, we're encouraging a lot of women to apply. It would be good to see your applications. And I think I forgot to mention that the call for application should go live in about a week or two, anywhere between mid-August. The application for the grant call, or rather the call for the application should have gone through from our end.
Thank you, Kendi. We have a question on how we get the requirements. After this session, every one of you will get the recording of this session as well as the slides, and you can have a look as well as to all the requirements that Kendi shared with us. We have, were you able to share the link? I think there are many questioning from the ACP link.
Yes,
Yes.
I don't know if everyone is able to see it.
Yes, everyone is able to see it. So Kendi has just shared the ACP link for everyone else requesting information for West Africa and Nigeria and other countries. So there's a question from a company in Nigeria producing tea and spices. I'm afraid Heva Fund is totally dedicated for the creative industries, but please write an email to SheTrades Invest at intercent.org, and we can see if there are the other partners doing accessing to finance for other sectors. If we have any other question, please feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat box. And yes, we are receiving some questions about the recording link. You will get the recording session. We have Heather. Heather, please feel free to unmute yourself. I see you raising your hand.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. My name is Heva, and I represent an organization in South Africa where we are aiming to reach 1 million children to share with them the importance of water. I just need to know if we come up with a creative way of getting that across to Africa, would we get the support from the organization, or is it not in this ambit at all?
So the focus for us is within the culture and creative industries. I think the program that you're referring to, the one that you're carrying out, is in the wash. They call it the wash sector, the water and sanitation sector, and so that's beyond our scope, as we are really focused on the creative industries. So yeah, that's beyond our scope at the moment. Unless if there's a way, probably if you would be able to digitize it, and I'm wondering how.
I think if I would go the digital route, it would mean that I would need the support to create the platform. I can definitely go the digital route. I've got support from the Rwandan government to mobilize at least 1 million children over a period of a year. Yeah. And if I could get the grant to support me from a digital point, I can definitely reach that goal. And also, I just wanted to say that the program is designed that we can do a job creation with women that don't have any job or don't even have a skill. And in that way, we were looking at moving into the GBV sector, where we find ourselves in South Africa having a challenge with women that are in the abuse centers that cannot get a specific skill. And in that way, we could look at a job creation program as well. So for me, if we go the digital route, then it would just mean that we would need to get the support in order to set up that kind of platform.
Yeah. My advice would be put it in a proposal in a way that it centers around or is related towards or geared towards the creative sector or creative and cultural sector. and then the evaluation panel will determine whether this is a proposal that they can support within the project or not.
All right, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks for that information.
Thank you, Heather. We also have a question, Kendi, from Deborah Nyambu. I can read it out, but Deborah, if you would like to clarify a little bit further, that'll be really great. What if the more mature company is not in the creative? Could they still partner with the growing creative with the business idea? Deborah, can you explain us a little bit more maybe about the company so Kendi can have a better context? Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I was asking what if the more mature company is not in the creative industry, but could they partner with the growing creative business? The growing creative business is the one with the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Could this more mature company, which is not in the creative, partner with the growing creative?
Yeah, sure.
Is that possible?
Yeah, if the project is within, sorry. Hello, Deborah, did I cut you? Did I cut you off?
No.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah, I was saying if the project is within the CCI, within the cultural creative industries, and you plan, or rather the new project that you intend to roll out, or the new project that you intend, or the current project that you intend to forward for the proposal is within the CCI, then as long as you can demonstrate that the younger company has been able to work within the CCI industries and has done something in the past year that's centered around CCIs, then it's okay. You can partner with a big organization that's not really heavily focused on CCI, but can provide you with the requirements, can provide you with like the eligibility criteria, can allow you to meet the eligibility criteria if you come together in a partnership.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Deborah. I haven't received any other question, but we still have around 5 more minutes in case you do have a question. I will, for the sake of this meeting, raise a quick poll. So I'll kindly request you if you can reply to these 3 questions that are appearing on your screen. And as well, in the meantime, well, we'll still have around 5 more minutes. If you have any additional question, please feel free to either unmute yourself or type it through this chat box. Heather is writing that we have a digital company who wants to support. Heather, feel free to unmute yourself.
Hi there. I'm so sorry. One of my partners just identified now that with what you within the digital platform, they are quite ready to support and to partner with us in such a space. And I think because I've gotten the invitation to this webinar, what would you suggest? How could we look at something like this? Do we do it together? Or like you say, do I still rather just put forward the proposal and see whether we could get the support in the creative space?
Sorry, Lisbeth, is that a question to you?
That's a question for you, Kendi. I think was related to Heather's idea on the water proposal.
Okay, you have a digital company that's able to come, to come on board.
That's correct, yes. So I was just asking, do we now maybe look at what the request is? Do they send the request? Or could we collaborate on this together and then send through the proposal for the grant?
Yes, collaborate with them. Once the call for application goes live, latest by, I would say, by the 15th of August, you can start creating a proposal right now together, sort of gear it or rather design it to still have impact within the CCI sector, and then yeah, send through your combined proposal, and then the evaluation committee will be able to determine whether it meets the eligibility criteria.
All right, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kendi. I haven't received any other question on my end. I'm receiving questions related to if the recording will be shared. Yes, after this session, we will be sharing the recording as well as the slides. And please let us know as well if you would like to be connected with Heva Fund. We can compile this information and send it to Kendi as well. We have a question. Are we allowed to share the recording with team members? Yes, please feel free to share the recording with any other company that might be available to benefit from what Heva is offering, which are really great opportunities for women in the creative industry. Farida Hossein is asking, can funding be accessed through the APC grant program for English speaking in the Caribbean region? Do you have any information for that, Kendi? I'm not sure.
I'm trying to understand the question.
So the fundings that you were mentioning from ACP grants programs, do you know if they also tackle the Caribbean region?
Oh yeah. There's also a block for the Caribbean region. So if you scroll down through the link that I shared, you'll be able to see the different blocks that ACP is interested in rolling out the culture and creative program in, and then you can see which block you belong to, and then whether they've launched their program yet, or when they think they launch, or watch out for the launch, and then now you'll be able to apply. And all the best. I hope you secure the grant.
Thank you very much, Kendi. I just share again the ACP link that Kendi kindly shares. So have a look at here. You'll find some other possible opportunities there. Thank you for sharing, Kendi. We're receiving a question from Gloria Manansi. For those French-speaking countries, will they submit their proposal in French, or do they have to submit it in English?
So the platform that we are hoping to use, the platform that we hope to use, should avail these different language options for the applicant. And so yes, you can submit it in the language that you're most comfortable in, and then we'll be able to process it on our end in the language that we are most comfortable in. So yes, the platform will allow for multilingual functionality.
Thank you very much, Kendi. For the sake of time, I'll proceed into thanking you so much for your time and this amazing presentation, letting again everyone know that we'll be sharing this information. I'm leaving you here as well the contact. If you have any queries, feel free to reach out directly to SheTrades Invest at introsend.org. I hope this session has been informative to you. Please have a look at the next sessions that we'll be having. Thank you so much, Kendi. I'll pass it over to you in case you have some final words for the audience.
Thank you so much, Lisbeth, for this opportunity. Thank you for everyone else who tuned in. I hope you're staying safe during this period, and all the best in your endeavors and in your businesses, even as you look to scale and as you look to secure financing. All the best to you.
Thank you very much, Kendi, and thank you very, very much everyone who joined us. Have a wonderful day and see you soon.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you, ladies.